So June 2012 marks the 25-year anniversary of the start of the longest reign of any Intercontinental Champion. This man right here, the Honky Tonk Man, and he looks a little worse for wear here. This action figure is probably about almost as old as that. But yeah, 25 years ago this month, June 2012, the Honky Tonk Man beat Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for the Intercontinental Championship. Probably, in my opinion, if not the biggest title upset in the history of the WWE. It has to be one of the top 3 or 4 or 5. It was a totally unexpected turn of events. The Honky Tonk Man defeating Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, pinning him on Wrestling Superstars. The show was recorded on June 2nd, 1987. I think it aired about 2 weeks later. But Steamboat had just won the Intercontinental title a few months earlier at WrestleMania 3 against Randy Savage in a match that still, to this day, stands up as one of the all-time great WrestleMania matches and one of the all-time great matches, in my opinion. But I was really shocked and somewhat disappointed. I was actually a big Honky Tonk Man fan. You may remember, if you were around back then, Honky Tonk Man came into the WWF in the summer of 1986 as a babyface. Was not getting over with the fans, so they turned him heel, and he picked up Jimmy Hart as his manager. And to me, that's when Honky Tonk Mania kind of caught fire for me. I really enjoyed him. I was a teenager at the time, and I liked the gimmick. I liked the fact that he had attacked Jake the Snake Roberts and wrote a song, and that was on the wrestling album. It was just, he was a very entertaining personality wrestler back then. Of course, as far as the title reign goes, it went 64 weeks, which is still, 25 years later, is still a record for the Intercontinental Championship. And, I miss those days, too, where champions had a long run. And Honky Tonk Man, of course, didn't really beat a lot of the guys that he was wrestling, when he took on Randy Savage or Ricky Steamboat, Jake the Snake Roberts, Brutus Beefcake. A lot of those matches ended in some kind of disqualification or a count out. A lot of times Honky would grab the belt and just leave. Of course, his feud with Randy Savage, the Macho Man, in the fall of '87, I think is kind of what perpetuated Savage into that top babyface mode. He was still kind of a tweener at the time, I think, but that really kind of propelled him and pushed him when he shoved Miss Elizabeth. Elizabeth went and got Hulk Hogan. The Mega Powers were hence born. So Honky Tonk Man, I think, was responsible for that too. People talk about Hogan and Piper in the 1984, 1985 era being the face-heel dynamic. I think Honky Tonk Man and Randy Savage, it could be argued that same kind of circumstances with those two. And it really led to some big things for Randy Savage. Honky Tonk Man, since after he lost the title to the Ultimate Warrior, kind of floundered and didn't do a whole lot after that. Teamed with Greg Valentine briefly as Rhythm and Blues, and kind of hung around, did commentary for a bit, managed, and has done some PR work for WWE in the years since, and now is more on the independent scene. But I had the chance to meet Honky Tonk Man once in 1997. He was doing press for Bad Blood, the In Your House Bad Blood, the original Hell in a Cell match with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. Met him, arm wrestled him, and won. He let me, of course. But also met him at Wrestle Reunion in April of 2012. And, a really nice guy. He took time to talk to us as fans. It was a quick interaction, but he was taking time with the fans. Something that I can't say a lot of the guys do. A lot of the times it's a quick picture, an autograph, and I actually struck up a brief conversation with him about his podcast, which I enjoy listening to as well, and I believe he's restarting that for the summer, so check that out as well. But the Honky Tonk Man, maybe not the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, but certainly got to be up there in the top probably 4 or 5 just for the longevity of the title and making things very entertaining and very interesting in the WWE, WWF back then in the late 1980s. Thanks everyone for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to My 1, 2, 3 Cents.